Beginning quilters often find it very difficult to know where to start, what patterns to look for when they go into a quilt shop. There are a lot of very fun, interesting beginning quilt patterns that you can do as a beginning quilter. Well, I'm here to tell you exactly what to look for. Now, this one is super duper easy, and what makes it simple is that each one of those blue blocks has two triangles on either corner, opposite corners. But the triangles are different sizes. It's very randomized. And what makes it easy is the fact that you don't have to match up any corners with those triangles when you put 4 blocks together. It's supposed to look scrappy and random, and it's perfect for a beginner because that takes the worry out of matching up angles, diagonals, and corners. It takes it out of the picture, and you're free to practice sewing on a diagonal and trimming down your blocks and some of the other elements that go into actually making a quilt. So this is a really fun one to make if you're a beginner. Another one that you might come across is an Irish chain. All right. So Irish chains are very popular. You find them on people's wish list all the time. I want to make an Irish chain. I want to make an Irish chain. An Irish chain, or a double Irish chain, or even a triple Irish chain. We're looking at squares. They're just simple squares in 4 patches or 9 patches. Those squares are now put together because they're larger. You know, your 4 patch builds up, it's larger, and then you drop in a solid single right there, a single square in the middle of it. So if you alternate a solid square of white with your other squares of color and then in white, you're going to eventually get that diagonal crisscrossing happening with those smaller colored squares. It's not that difficult, and it's a really good way to practice how to press your seams, get those intersections nice and flat as you're creating your quilt. That is a super duper important element that that all quilters have to learn, develop, and get better at. Okay, so another quilt that is a good beginner quilt, this one ups your skill level just by a notch, is a medallion type quilt like this using squares and half square triangle blocks. Now, as you develop your quilting skills, you realize that you cannot escape the half square triangle block. It is vital to be able to make this type of block because it's in just about every quilt that's out there. And so this one is really good because the blocks are large. We're not dealing with small, the squares aren't 2 inches. They are larger, maybe 5-6 inch squares. So your half square triangles are larger. They're easier to handle, easier to square up and work with. This is a good beginner quilt. I wouldn't have any issues suggesting this to one of my beginning quilting students. Another beginning quilt that you can try, that you can work on, is this one here. It's called Ripple. Now this one, if you notice all of those diagonal stripes, those are done with a jelly roll, 2.5 inch strips. Now the tricky thing about this one, which is why I left it for last in my list of printed patterns, is because with this one, the strips are going in a diagonal, and what ends up happening is that you have a bit of a bias edge. It's a stretchy edge. However, I would encourage a beginning quilter who is pretty confident with their machine. I'd encourage a beginning quilter to do this one. It is not difficult at all and lots of fun. With a jelly roll, you're gonna get a bunch of fun fabrics in that roll, and so it would really make this quilt pop. It'd be fun. Anytime you're in a quilt shop, I'm sure you're gonna come across a book like one of these, teaching you how to use precuts. For a beginning quilter, precut fabrics are a really great tool to take advantage of because you don't have to think about the colors that are going into your quilt. A precut pack, whether it be a jelly roll, a charm pack, a layer cake, a fat quarter bundle, these are all standard precut packs. and there are others as well, but all of the fabrics that are within those pre-cut packs are going to coordinate with each other. So it takes the question of, well, do these two fabrics match? Is it gonna look good? Well, yes, it is going to look good because it was already packaged together. It's all by the same designer, the same line of fabric. Makes life easy. But here's the problem. Pre-cut fabrics are not always cut exactly like you want them to. And I'm going to talk in another video about pre-cut fabrics more in depth, but they're not always cut exactly like you want them to be cut. So it takes a little bit of understanding about them to use them effectively without getting frustrated. But guys, as a beginning quilter, I encourage you to go ahead and grab a jelly roll, grab a fat quarter bundle, use those pre-cuts because they are fun and enjoyable. I hope that the information that I've shared with you today has been helpful to you. I'd love to hear your questions, what questions you have about the patterns I've shared, what questions you have about jelly rolls or pre-cuts or just beginning quilting in general. Don't forget all of the pattern information. That information is all linked below to my shop, so you can go and click on that and grab some of these patterns and some of these books. You can grab jelly rolls and other pre-cuts there as well. I'm so excited about my new website. I'd love for you to go check it out, see what kind of goodies that you can find. It's super easy to navigate, and not only do you get to do shopping, but you can sign up for classes directly on the website. See the calendar, what's available, and when you want to jump into a class. I'm here to help you get better at your quilting, and so any way that I can help you, I'm happy to do it. Subscribe below for more quilting tips and tutorial videos down there. Bye.